Hi, it's Dr. Jan here. And how do you know if you're being bullied at work? There isn't a test that you can take that will 100% say that yes, you're being bullied at work. But one of the things that we do is we take a lot of factors into consideration. And that's what we're going to talk about today are those factors that you need to look at and review to make a determination about whether you're being bullied at work. So the first thing that you need to think about are what is happening to you. So I recommend, of course, and if you've listened to me before, you know that I strongly encourage you to document your experiences for at least 2 to 3 weeks. And I'll put the documentation template link in the description box. And I also have a workbook that helps you look at what does that documentation mean. And I'll put both of those down there for you. And as always, you can always email me at janet.stopbullyculture if you have any questions. But the first thing is those behaviors, right? That's the first piece of understanding if you're being bullied. And those can range from minor to major. But using that documentation template, you'll get a good idea of exactly what's happening to you. And the other thing that we usually say is when it comes to workplace bullying is frequency. How often are those things happening? And so we say usually on a regular basis, okay? And what does that mean? What that means is that it has happened for approximately 3 months, so that if you're in bully culture and you've been working there, it's probably happened for a very, very long time. But usually what they say is about 3 months on a regular basis, which is daily, weekly, or monthly. Now, it's been my experience that if you're experiencing workplace bullying, that's happening on a weekly basis, very likely on a daily basis, those things are happening. From minor to major behavior, and it's all those behaviors in between. So if you have an incident of physical threats or intimidation, that's one behavior in the puzzle of workplace bullying. And so it can be verbal, nonverbal, cyber, psychological or emotional, physical, and attacks on your professional reputation. And the thing that I remind people when they're documenting is you're not going to get everything. And the other thing is if people are talking about you or gossiping about you behind your back, you don't know that because you're not there. Somebody has probably told you, maybe you've overheard it, okay? So don't worry that you're getting every single behavior. You want to get a pattern of behavior of what is happening to you. Okay, so you have to have the behaviors. The other thing that's important to think about when it comes to determining whether or not you're being bullied is to look at these two components of your life, your personal life and your professional life. So they say that workplace bullying is those behaviors, but it also then has to affect you personally and professionally. So look at what you've done professionally. Have you changed your behavior? So, for example, one of the things that I did is I would literally sneak into my office. So I would try to come at a time when nobody else was around, and I took the long way around, meaning I wouldn't come into the front door, so I had to walk by everybody. I would take the back door and then kind of slink in so no one saw me. That's an example of how I changed my behavior in order to avoid being bullied or people seeing me. And so I was reducing the opportunities for them to bully me. And we do those things a lot. It's not just one. Typically, if you're being bullied, you're modifying who you are as a professional on a pretty regular basis. Okay. And so think about those things. What have you done in order to decrease the abuse, and you've changed how you are professionally? Okay. The other thing is it affects your personal life. Okay. That means, are you sleeping more? Are you sleeping less? Are you eating more, eating less? Are you having headaches? Are you having stomach aches? Are you having anxiety attacks? Are you feeling depressed? Are you having things happen to your body that you're not sure what's going on? And so it also has to affect you personally and professionally. And one of the things that I really want to warn you about when it comes to your health is that sometimes you might have a physical condition and that is exasperated as a result of the bullying, and you might discount it. Here's an example for myself. I'm diabetic. I've been diabetic since I was 13 years old. So for a very long time, if you know what I'm saying. And one of the things that happened to me when I was in a bullying situation is my blood sugar skyrocketed and it wouldn't go down. I took that as just I was getting older. I had had diabetes for a long time, and it was just par for the course. But what actually happened is it was workplace abuse that was causing my blood sugar to skyrocket, and I wasn't able to get it under control. And I didn't make that connection until after I quit that job. And as soon as I left that position, my blood sugar was back to normal, and I've never had any trouble with it since. So even think about those things that you might already have, that your body might be changing as a result of the workplace abuse. You're making a judgment about whether or not you're being bullied at work. I think there are a couple of other areas to consider, and that is there a policy that looks at workplace bullying? Or has there been a policy like conflict resolution that you've tried to utilize to make the situation better? One of the things that I have found in working with targets of workplace bullying is that before they reach out to me, they've tried everything in their power to stop what is happening to them. And oftentimes what happens is policies like conflict resolution have been used to resolve the situation, and they have been very ineffective. Okay. And that's because workplace bullying and conflict are not the same thing. And I'll put a link to an article about that in the description box. And so you've tried to reconcile it on your own without success. And the other thing too is when you've gone to your supervisor or your leader, like, or whoever is supposed to try to help you resolve the situation, those things have actually increased the abuse that you've experienced. So if it's conflict and you use a conflict resolution policy, most of the time those things, again, maybe it doesn't go back to 100% being great, but what happens is the conflict decreases. If you've utilized policy or you've reported to your supervisor, oftentimes what happened is just the opposite, is the workplace abuse gets worse and retaliation happens. That to me really helps solidify and cement the fact that workplace bullying is happening. Okay. And I really think that getting a good understanding and making a determination that you're being bullied is one of the first steps that you can do in helping you better manage workplace bullying. And the other thing I'm going to encourage you to do is look at that documentation that you've kept and identify those high risk times and learn how to better manage those situations. Because if you've already reported workplace bullying and nobody has done anything, the likelihood that anybody will do anything, unfortunately, is very, very slim. So you have to learn how to manage bully culture, okay? Because there is probably little chance, unfortunately, that the bullying will stop unless there is a turnover in leadership. And if I can be of assistance to you in any way, please let me know. And as always, please like, subscribe, and share. And if you have any comments, you're more than welcome to put those below. I also know that workplace bullying is a topic where there can be confidentiality issues, and you can always share your comments with me at jan@stopbullyculture.com.